Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering human creativity. I am Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Stephen Beaudoin, who currently serves as Executive Director of the Washington Chorus. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Aaron, it's such a delight to be with you here in the online universe. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, absolutely. So I'm so excited to talk. And obviously you bring a breadth of administrative experience. Obviously you're at the Chorus, but you were at the Maryland Symphony and a host of other opportunities. So I know you are able to bring all of this kind of experience to bear as we kind of tackle some of these issues. And of course, with the Washington Chorus and Eugene Rogers, who has many connections here to Michigan, we're so excited, even more than our typical week on the show. So, we really wanted to, and I wanted to try and give our audience a sense of the orchestra, the chorus of tomorrow, right? And kind of what that is about. However, before that, what I wanted to do was that we have orchestral leaders, we have opera leaders, we have various presenters who are on the show. And what I'm always curious about, and I'm sure our audience wants to know, is what about chorus, right? What makes chorus unique? What is it in this, landscape that's filled with any number of opportunities that people have? Why should they come to the Chorus, and of course, specifically to the Washington Chorus?
Oh, Aaron, that's such a terrific question. Gosh, I'm so grateful for all the experiences I've had that you referenced, running an orchestra, running a community arts organization. I was trained as a classical singer and I worked in opera and musical theater. There's something about a chorus that, in my view, is so beautifully democratic. And my life's work really is about democratizing art and bringing people together. And a chorus, I think, is no disrespect to all the other art forms that I love so much, but there is just something so beautifully democratic and community minded about a chorus. And of course, part of that is simply the fact that most choral organizations happen to be powered primarily by highly talented amateur, if you will, talent, by primarily non-paid choral talent. Now, there are a lot of terrific organizations across the country and around the globe that do use some or all professional singers, but most, when you think about the great choruses, whether it was Robert Shaw in Atlanta or the Washington Chorus now, most of the talent is amazing volunteer, high quality volunteer talent. And that brings a different type of experience, a different type of commitment, and a different type of flexibility than our wonderful friends and peers that are working in fully professionalized operations. It presents different challenges, but also has some real opportunities to nurture community in a different way.
Awesome. And and I love that kind of piece of that. There is this ethos somehow in the chorus of those who comprise it, because of that drive, because it's every single person on stage is driven to be there, and not from some particular financial return, but literally just for the experience of the art and sharing that with others. It's really, it is unique and is a beautiful thing. And so when you think about where choruses are at today, and you think about the things that you're doing to build the chorus of tomorrow today, kind of what does that look like? And are there any particular things in your mind that are needed and or that you're already doing to kind of help bring that about?
Sure. So some of the challenges that are out in the world are similar across all types of art and creativity and entertainment. The challenge of attracting and retaining, building loyalty with our audience. That's a significant challenge in classical music, period. And it is also a challenge that is germane to choruses, how to embrace technology. And we've all had to do it because we had to do it to get through the last year and a half. But frankly, we were, many of us, most of us, pretty late to doing it. You were ahead of the curve, and have always been ahead of the curve, Aaron, but many of us were very late to embracing technology. And so now as we exit the pandemic, technology is not going anywhere, and digital content, digital art, digital products and services are going to continue to be in demand. And then I think also about this question of civic engagement. And you referenced earlier the connection that choristers have to each other while singing in the chorus. Well, all the research shows, to nobody's surprise, that choristers are really among our most civically engaged citizens. They're much more likely to vote, much more likely to be involved in as volunteers or elected leaders themselves. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the young man who just was elected U.S. Senator from Georgia, John, what was his name? John Ossoff. John Ossoff is an alum of the Washington Chorus. John Ossoff sang with us when he worked on Capitol Hill like 5 or 10 years ago under Julian Walkner. And those are the type of citizens that choirs foment, the kind of citizens that we attract and the kind of citizens that we put out into the world. So I think when I think about the chorus of tomorrow, Aaron, I'm thinking about the possibility to really embrace the civic engagement piece of our work, and to do so in all parts, not only musically and what we do and how we're doing it, but how would we more authentically and creatively embrace truly the role of civic convener for choirs across the country and across our communities. And that not only has to do with what we do in a rehearsal or what we do in a concert hall, but it has to do with what we do on the street, in the community center, in the church, and in so many other places. So when I think about the course of tomorrow, I think, how could we really embrace even more strongly, because it's part of our DNA as choirs, how can we truly more authentically and creatively embrace the role of civic convener in our communities?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think it's just shows this ongoing evolution in the field. And you're so right about some of these things that are not going to change. You referenced from COVID that we had to do during the height of the pandemic. And now, of course, as we hopefully are getting through towards some light at the end of the tunnel, some of those things will remain. And I'm curious in kind of your experiences. We have a lot of people tuning in who are not just practitioners, but of course our administrators, and are always looking to see what have their peers been doing in terms of their own institutions. And curious, during COVID, were there any key aspects that you kind of needed to address, or projects that you were able to do that were kind of driven by COVID, but now as you reflect on it, we're really, really proud, really excited of this, and we might want to, look at doing this again despite COVID?
Yeah, great question. And I am so fortunate. I have to just tell you, it is such a gift, a true gift to work with a co-leader that I love working with. And I'm so grateful to have the chance to work with Eugene Rogers as our artistic director. And Eugene, as you know, is not only an incredible musician, a wonderful person, and a wonderful teacher and mentor. And Eugene, it is just such a pleasure to work with him. And because of I'm a business-minded creative person, and Eugene knew about that when he came into the organization, and he is the artistic director. But I am so grateful that we get to have the kind of relationship where we talk creatively and foment creative ideas constantly all the time. And I think that's part of what has allowed us in the last year to do some really interesting things. So I'll give 2 quick examples. The first example is a project that we did called Cantata for a More Hopeful Tomorrow. You may have heard about this. And we were the first American chorus to commission a new work in response to COVID that was premiered and recorded all online. So we have 147 singers sang with us all last year into their phones, into their laptops. And it was a huge effort, not only for the singers to learn a new work, but then to record it and post-production, all that. And we said, well, great to do a musical work, but in this time visual storytelling, let's commission a filmmaker, Bob Berg from University of Michigan, another Michigan connection, Bob Berg, to create a new film that is a COVID story and that helps to tell the story of the experience of Black Americans in COVID. As we all know, COVID has disproportionately affected communities of color over the last year and a half. And so we wanted to tell that story. And the result of that, Aaron, was not only a beautiful new work by Damien Jeter, a beautiful film that helps to illustrate the story, recorded and performed by the Washington Chorus with Seth Parker Woods on cello, with Andi Marie Moore, soprano, beautiful collaborators. But what we also did is we premiered it online, number one. We submitted it to film festivals. And I know you know that circuit because you have your works on the film festival circuit. Started getting shown at film festivals around the world, Munich and Los Angeles and here in Maryland, and then have also been selling it on Vimeo and licensing it. So we have had schools, churches, community organizations that purchase licenses so that they can use this as an educational or inspirational work with their communities.
Fantastic, phenomenal. And it's interesting because this is the kind of work they've been seeing coming out, this innovation, creativity in response to tragedy, but that results in just deeply impactful artistic work and creation that obviously benefits so many communities beyond just your immediate Washington community. So it's truly, truly phenomenal. Kind of one last thing is we're thinking about, kind of this chorus of the future, outside of course, people tuning in and checking and going to the Washington chorus. Are there any other kind of leaders in the field that you think, our audience should be aware of, should be thinking of, listening to as they think about, wanting to see where the future and where the chorus of tomorrow is?
Absolutely. What a great question. There are so many amazing leaders in the choral field. Aaron, I could spend the next half an hour shouting out so many great names. There are, since you asked that question, there are a few folks I would want to highlight beyond, of course, Eugene Rogers with his work with the Washington Chorus, his work with Exigence, his work with University of Michigan. There are two folks that really speak to my heart and mind at this moment. And the first is Alexander Lloyd Blake, and he has founded a new chamber chorus, and I think it's a fully professional chorus called Tonality. And his approach to creativity, his approach to programming, his approach to community and civic engagement, I just think it's so exciting. And I think he and his organization Tonality are really ones to watch. I'm also thinking about Alicia Lee. Alicia Lee is the founder of Sister Cities Girl Choir. She's a consultant. She's an amazing singer herself. She's a composer. This new work she wrote called Say Her Name has been performed. It's a beautiful work, has been performed all across the country, maybe even around the globe at this time. Alicia Lee really is one to watch. So we could talk for the next half hour about all the amazing people doing amazing work, but I just wanted to shout out to Alexander Lloyd Blake and to Alicia Lee, two luminaries that I think are going to continue to shine in our field.
Totally awesome. So unfortunately, we're just about out of time, but I always like to ask my guests, you're doing this work and being able to really bring innovation, obviously in the field, but there's got to be rough days. And, on the toughest of days, what do you do to draw on inspiration, on strength when it seems like some of the obstacles might be insurmountable?
Oh, wow, that's really speaking to me emotionally, that question. When I experience difficult times, I like to remind myself of my 11-year-old self, the Stephen that was 11 years old, struggling with my sexual orientation, struggling with coming out, struggling with understanding my place in the world. And the thing that gave me a sense of place, a sense of welcome, and some grace in my life as a kid was joining the chorus. My elementary school had just founded a chorus when I was in the 5th grade, and I kind of secretly told a friend of mine, I really want to join this chorus. I know it's not cool for the boys to do this, but I really want to do it. And of course, she told the music teacher, and she recruited me on the playground, and the rest is history. But I think of that, the profound experience that singing in a chorus, not, and also being on stage and now working with these amazing collaborators, the amount of fulfillment, the amount of grace that has given me. And I try to hold in my heart all the kids and adults for whom finding a creative outlet that is meaningful for them is the thing that gets them through the day.
Stephen Beaudoin, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Aaron, thank you. It's been a real pleasure.